The Supreme Court has affirmed the election of Babajide Sanwo-Olu as the governor of Lagos State. Justice Garba Lawal, who read the lead judgment, dismissed the appeal filed by the Labour Party candidate, GRV. He held that the deputy governor was duly qualified to contest the election. Stay tuned as more details will be coming your way shortly.
In Abuja, well, as you can see in the background, of course, the Supreme Court, the security checks are still ongoing. And of course, the entrance and the exits here and there, lawyers and those who are in the case, that the cases that are going to be heard today or the delivery of the judgment are present in court and getting ready to get inside. It's going to be a very busy day for the justices of the Supreme Court who are going to be sitting today. Yes, it's a lot on the hands of the Supreme Court. It's a very special day. Fridays are usually very busy on a special day in the Supreme Court because that is usually when the Supreme Court delivers some of its judgment. But today on the cost list, I must confirm to you that we have on the cost list from the Supreme Court this morning cases from Plateau, Cross River, Abia, Zamfara, Abia, Lagos, Kanu, Bauchi, and Plateau State. That's about 9 states which judgment might be delivered today by the Supreme Court. We know that the Supreme Court had deferred judgment on some of these cases when they first heard some of these the appeals in these governorship contests. But today, the fate of some of the governors, those who are on the sideline, will be determined today. Is it possible that we see some upset? Is it possible that we see some fundamental statement from the Supreme Court? But you know, of course, that whatever the Supreme Court says is a law. The faces, the big ones, are not arriving just yet. Of course, we see buses conveying people right here at the Supreme Court. You see, of course, as they're arriving. But you see some of the lawyers, some of whom I know very much here, who are in this matter, who are going to be standing for that. I mean, it's not a day for you to defend your case. It's a day for you to listen to the judgment. For those who are optimistic about getting a positive out of the Supreme Court today, you find them here, and some of them will be trickling in. It's just 7:55 a.m. The court is supposed to rise or start hearing the cases or delivering judgment or start. We should see the justices enter into the courtroom at about 9 a.m. That is officially when the court will open for its session. But yes, we will be expecting the big faces who are involved in this matter. And of course, you know, some of the big cases that a lot of Nigerians are talking about, the anticipation on the ground in this state, for example, Plateau State, Kano State, Nasarawa State, Bauchi State, Zamfara State. These are states that you look out for the contentious matters before the Supreme Court, and how the Supreme Court is going to deliver, or whatever the Supreme Court says about these cases, is going to be very, very interesting, and one that a lot of lawyers and Nigerians also will be chewing for the next few days. I tell you that if the Supreme Court is delivering judgment, what I imagine that could happen, I was listening to one of the guests on Morning Brief earlier, Mr. Giwa, who was talking about what the Supreme Court, or what the court says the law is the law. The Sociological School of Jurisprudence, who said, like, it's what the court or what the judges say the law is what the law is. But then it's going to be a long day, because when they are reeling out those judgments, you have to listen, especially when they are dissenting positions of the justices, because you have to listen to the dissenting judgment, then you have to listen to the lead judgment that will determine where the cases go. So if 9 cases are going to be determined today, let's say give and take, you'll see nothing less than 45 minutes or 1 hour for each of the cases, times 9. That's at least 9 hours.
A judgment notice has already been sent to parties in these appeals. The Supreme Court had on December the 19th, 2023, heard and reserved judgment in 2 appeals filed by Gbadebo Rhodes Vival, the candidate of the Labour Party, as well as the People's Democratic Party, which was filed by Aziz Adedinro against the election of Babajide Sanwo-Olu as governor of Lagos State. The appeals by Mrs. Rose Viver and Adedinro are against the earlier judgment of the Court of Appeal in Lagos, which affirmed the decisions of the election tribunal, dismissing both petitions. And on December the 21st, the Apex Court heard and reserved judgment in the appeals filed by the governor of Kanu State, Abba Yusuf, who's of the New Nigeria People's Party. He's seeking to overturn the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which affirmed the judgment of the tribunal voiding his election. On January the 9th, the Apex Court heard and reserved judgment in the appeals, this time filed by the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mufwang, seeking to overturn the judgment of the Court of Appeal that nullified his election as well. The court will deliver judgment in the appeal filed by the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Sandy Ojang Ono, who is seeking to nullify the election of Basi Otu as governor of Cross River State.